So if, like me, you are a massive fan of one team or a fan of loads of teams from around the world, I have the perfect app to keep you up to date, and it is of course the OneFootball app. The reason I say this is because they are great at giving you the latest league tables, live team news, upcoming fixtures, player statistics from your favourite players from your favourite clubs, everything you need to keep you up to date with all of your favourite teams. And don't worry, they also have your fix of live football covered, with a match which you can watch live in the Serie A every single weekend for free using the OneFootball app. If you are interested, either use the link in the description down below or scan the QR code on screen now to download the OneFootball app today. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we have something a little bit different because Manchester United have a problem. The problem is they have the best holding midfielder on the planet, potentially the best holding midfielder of all time. Quite a nice problem to have. However, the reason it's a problem is because when he's suspended or injured, as Manchester United fans, we instantly go, we're going to lose the next 3 games because Casemiro is out. A big club like Manchester United should not be in that situation, so Manchester United need to find a player which can be back up to Casemiro. Currently, Ten Hag does not have the faith in any of the players in the squad to play the role that Casemiro plays, so Manchester United need a signing in the summer. The problem is, it's quite difficult to sign players that want to be backup. However, you guys have been asking for this video in loads of comments in recent videos. So what I want to do today is, like I said, something a little bit different. I'm going to give you the name of 3 players. I'll give you more than just a name, don't worry. But we're not going to go as in depth as what we typically would. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 players. You guys can then go watch these 3 players across Europe. Let me know your thoughts. A bit of everything basically. Let me know what you think of these 3. And also, over the next few weeks, I will be watching all 3 of them, compiling my analysis on them, and then over the next month or so, I will break all 3 of them down individually in their own separate videos. So for today, you're going to get a brief overview of them, you guys can go watch them, come back, and then eventually we will have a more in-depth video like we do in the Scouting for United series. So, let's just get straight into it. So actually, just quickly before we go into it, I just want to point out that all 3 players on this list will be 21 years old at the time of recording, because I think when you're signing a backup player, it's quite difficult to get someone who's already in their prime, because at that stage they don't want to be a backup. So we're going to go for 3 21-year-olds that can come in, be a backup, and then in a few years' time be the starting midfielder. And we're going to start off with Sporting Lisbon and Uruguay's Manuel Ugarte, a really, really good midfielder, which I've been watching a lot this season. Since the World Cup especially, I've really been focusing on him at the time of recording. I'm literally going to go watch him tonight. Really good player who does a bit of everything in the midfield. The way that I would probably best describe him is as a ball-winning midfielder. This is a guy which really gets stuck in, gets about the pitch, puts lots and lots of tackles in. In terms of on the ball, he is quite a safe player in possession. Now, in his younger days in the youth systems, he was a bit more expansive with his passing, often labelled as a bit of a deep-lying playmaker. However, since playing for the first team at Sporting, he has been a bit safer, and the percentage of passes that this guy completes, really, really outstanding. His pass numbers are very, very good, and that is something which Manchester United need in midfield. Someone who gets a lot of touches on the ball, but also completes a high percentage of his passes. Like I said, it is quite safe. He's a real tempo setter for the side though. He's kind of your perfect pivot point. He's not going to spray passes forward and play you in behind or cute passes through the lines too much. Give him the ball, he'll give it to someone else. Give the ball back to him, he'll give it to someone else. Sets the tempo, gets a lot of touches, and yeah, gets the team really ticking over. What I also like on top of this is his press resistance. This is something which I constantly go on about at Manchester United. Manchester United don't have a press resistant midfielder. Someone that can receive the ball in their own defensive third with their back to play and wiggle out of a problem. And despite standing at quite a big stature, Ugarte is actually very press resistant and very capable of wiggling away. He isn't a player which particularly drives through the pitch in terms of his dribbling, however in tight spaces, quick feet, he very quickly gets himself out of tricky situations, from where he then does have long passing range. Now again, yes, it's not long passing in the sense of going over the top of a defence, however he might pick it up on the left side of the midfield, shift it onto his right foot, and then switch to play out to a spare right winger, or he might pick it up in like a right central midfield spot, pick the ball up and spray it to the left. He really is a very, very good passer, and that is backed up if we look at his FBref report, where we can see his percentages are absolutely ridiculous. First of all, ranking in the 88th percentile for passes completed, and the 80th percentile for passes attempted, showing it is a high volume player, someone who gets a lot of the ball, but the 99th percentile for pass completion. That's very impressive. And what we can also see is the 98th percentile for pass completion with short passes, the 99th percentile for pass completion with medium range passes, and the 85th percentile for pass completion with long passes, which we can see he doesn't attempt it as much, but when he does, it is right on the money. This guy just never loses the ball. So he would be such a good player for Manchester United to have at the base of their midfield. And then in situations where United don't have possession, this guy is very, very good defensively. Now, the problem with a player like Ugarte and his FBref report is you have to consider the leagues that it's being compared to. This isn't Europe's top 5 leagues, it's kind of that next bracket. However, tackles in the middle third, tackles in the attacking third, dribblers tackled, dribblers challenged, blocks, passes blocked, interceptions, tackles and interceptions, all ranking in the 98th percentile or higher. These defensive metrics are very, very impressive, and for those reasons, I think Ugarte would be a very good player to come and play in this Manchester United midfield. Get the ball in his areas, turn out of pressure and help the team play from there, and then in possession, quite safe, sideways passing to his teammates, keeping it quite safe, being that ticking point for the side, but also having that ability to switch to play with longer passes, and then that defensive contribution as well. Like I said, we're not going in depth on these players in this particular video, but Ugarte is definitely one that you have to be watching. He'd probably cost the club about £50 million, so keep that in your mind when you're looking at him. However, I think this guy is destined for a move to the Premier League, so keep an eye on Ugarte. So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. The next player on the list is of course again 21 years old, and this is someone that you guys have been asking for a video on for so long now, probably 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Kouadio or Manu Kone, Borussia Mönchengladbach's big powerhouse of a midfielder. And despite being a big powerhouse, you know, we look at him, he's a big midfielder, physical, very, very technically gifted, very good at carrying the ball through the pitch. We were talking about Ugarte not necessarily driving forward. Kone provides a bit more of a drive to a team. Think almost at times a bit Anguissa at Napoli, the way that he drives through the pitch. Again, he's got really good quick feet for a big player. He's able to shift the ball from one foot to the other, keeping it away from the opposition at all times. And if the opposition do get a bit closer, he then has that physical strength to just shrug them off, get him out of his way and carry on. Again, in terms of his passing, he isn't the most expansive player. He's not a player to kind of break a defence down or find the eye of a needle pass. Again, he's a bit more passive with his passing, a little bit safe, a little bit sideways at times. Not quite as expansive as perhaps what Manchester United would like. However, again, he makes up for that with his energy. This guy covers pretty much every blade of grass when he plays. And defensively, again, very, very aggressive. He goes in for the duels. At times, perhaps that's an issue with him. Perhaps he's a bit too aggressive at times, which means, not in the sense of getting sent off, but aggressive with his positioning. At times means that he can be caught out in a press, things like that. However, this is a young player, 21 years old, still with so much room to develop, playing in the Bundesliga, doing very, very good for Mönchengladbach. Really good player. And again, if we look at the FBref report, it kind of backs it up, particularly his dribbling. The 98th percentile for take-ons attempted, and of course the 98th percentile for successful take-ons. So, he's attempting these take-ons a lot of times during a game, but also he is completing a very large percent of them, which is a really good sign. Manchester United at the moment lack a player which can just carry the ball through the pitch. As good as someone like Christian Eriksen is on the ball with his passing, he doesn't offer you that drive, which is going to just pick the ball up, drive through the heart of a team. He doesn't really do that. Kouadio Kone is someone that certainly could. Pronunciation, apologies if I'm wrong on it, but in terms of his performance, really, really good player. And of course defensively as well. Yes, he is aggressive, you know, he's looking to win tackles, but look at that. Tackles in the defensive third, ranking very well. Tackles won, percentage of dribblers tackled, challenges lost. He doesn't lose very many challenges at all. Really good player. Errors, we can see there, 71st percentile. This is a player which is very aggressive with the way that he looks to defend. Like I said, not always super high up the pitch. Times he can be caught out a little bit with his positioning, so this isn't the perfect player. And this is why, if we were talking about Ugarte probably costing 50 million, Kone's probably closer to around the 30 million mark. However, if we were to take Ugarte out of the team and put Kone in, I think he'd do a very good job. He probably isn't as press resistant, he's probably not a deep midfielder. There's a chance with Kone, and my slight concern is that maybe he's more of a box-to-box midfielder. That is my one concern. However, hopefully I've given you guys kind of a brief breakdown of what he wants to do. He really looks to carry the ball forward, but then be safe with his passing and keen to win the ball back. So hopefully you guys have a rough idea. You can go watch him and let me know what you think before we now go on to our last player. So the last player we have on our list is another 21-year-old, and he is from Fluminense, so a player you probably haven't watched because he is playing in Brazil. However, 21-year-old Andre is a very, very, very complete midfielder, and actually, quite impressively, the cheapest on this list, reportedly with a release clause of £18 million, making him very, very affordable. In terms of what Andre provides, it really is a bit of everything. Initially, he is press resistant, quite short, about 5'9", so he's brilliant at getting the ball, using that low centre of gravity to turn away from opposition presses, opposition forwards, which means he could help Manchester United get out of the press even better than what Casemiro does currently. Having done that, having helped his team get out of that pressure and move the ball forward, this guy is the complete package. He is a high volume player. What I mean by high volume is not that he shouts loud, but that he gets a lot of touches of the ball. Volume in terms of amount. A lot of touches on the ball, a lot of passes. That is what Manchester United needs, someone that can dictate the play. Andre is exactly that. He really loves having the ball at his feet, he's constantly going across the pitch, demanding the ball off his defenders, off his midfielders. This guy wants to control the play, and I'll be honest, it's quite clear to see why he demands the ball so much. It's because he is absolutely brilliant. This guy has literally every pass in football that you could want in his locker. This guy is very, very good. He can spray passes out wide, he can keep it short and simple and sweet in the middle of the pitch. He can go a bit longer in towards a chest of a striker, something like that. But also in the final third, he can find that little clipped ball into the box for a striker. That little reverse ball around the corner, that ball again through the eye of the needle. Andre is perhaps, as a profile, the most complete of everyone that we have looked at today. The problem is the league that he is playing in. Now, I don't mean any disrespect by that, but by playing in the Brazilian league, we haven't seen Andre against the best players in the world. However, I don't think that should necessarily turn Manchester United away from this. If we talk about someone like Enzo Fernandez, who 12 months ago was playing his football in Argentina, a league where you'd go, it's not great playing for River Plate, he's not facing the best players in the world. Now he's just gone for 100 million and is rated as one of the best midfielders. So perhaps Andre could go on a similar sort of path, but this time from Brazil. In terms of what he does on the ball, like I said, he really does do everything. He can press resistance, carrying the ball out of his defence. He can then drive forward through the pitch with the ball, constantly demanding the ball at his feet. Passing, he's got a bit of everything, and his FBref reports are really nice to look at. I can't even go through all these stats, but what we'll do is pass completion. Short pass completion, the 99th percentile. Medium pass completion, the 99th percentile. Long pass completion, the 98th percentile. But again, look at the attempted. 99th percentile for passes attempted in terms of short passes, the 82nd for medium, and the 35th for long. So again, a bit like Ugarte, he doesn't necessarily try loads of long passes, but when he does, again, it is right on the money. His total passing distance, 91st percentile, and progressive passing distance, the 89th percentile. Pass completion, 99th percentile. This guy is just so good with his passing, but also the dribbling as well. Again, these numbers are simply ridiculous. We can see he's an all-action player with those touches in his defensive penalty area, defensive third, the middle third, but then the take-ons attempted, the successful take-ons, successful take-on percentage, just really good. The carries, the total carry distance, the progressive carrying distance. This is a really well-rounded player and probably the player on the list that you guys know the least about. So really, out of everyone on the list, I think this is the one that you should go watch. Because again, for £18 million reportedly, that's a very good price to pay for a backup midfielder. We look at Tyrell Malacia, was signed for about £12 million, now looks like an absolute steal for a backup fullback. Manchester United could maybe do something similar in the midfield here with Andre. So yeah, that's all I want to do for today's video. You guys can go check out Andre, you can go check out Kone, you can go check out Ugarte for yourself and let me know what you think. And as the season goes on, I will be watching all of these players and giving you guys more in-depth reports, individual videos for each player, looking at all of their strengths and potentially looking at other clubs they could join as well. So make sure you subscribe for the channel so you get to see that. We are approaching 12k, I would love to get there by the end of the month, so if you could subscribe that would help. But yeah, these are 3 players to keep an eye on as potential backups for Casemiro. So let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.